I'm about to watch every film nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. I'm about to do what a lot of the Academy members can't. Watch every single movie nominated for at least for Best Picture, because I can't watch every one of them in like 2 months. I have things to do, unfortunately, or I would. Unlike some of you. Might as well go ahead and start off with what our nominees are. So we have Bugonia, which I don't really know much about, outside of like aliens, something, I don't know. F1, that one's really weird that one's nominated. I remember when it came out and I heard like nothing else about it. Frankenstein is also one of the nominated movies. Netflix original. Don't know why they put that beautiful looking film. Then we have Hamnet. I didn't know what that was about till very recently. I didn't realize it was actually just about Shakespeare. But it's Paul Mescal, so like, we could be good. Marty Supreme is a big one. Of course, Timothée Chalamet, he's going crazy. It's one of the Safdie brothers. I can't remember which one. It's about ping pong. One battle after another. I had a friend who really wanted to watch that when it came out, and I was like, do I want to? And everyone was like, oh, it's the greatest thing ever. We'll find out. We'll see if Mr. DiCaprio is really that good. The Secret Agent, don't know what you are. Never heard of you. Sentimental Value, guess what? Don't know you, but one of the Fanning sisters is in it, and they're up for an Oscar. Sinners is the only one of these movies that I've actually seen. I have not seen any of the other ones. This was one of my favorite films of last year. Not my favorite, because the best film of last year was 100% Chainsaw Man, the movie. Then we have Train Dreams. Guess what? Don't know what that is. It's outside of I know it's a Netflix movie. So there's certain criteria that I want to look out when I'm watching these movies, because, you gotta look out for something. You can't just watch them and, base it off anything else. So obviously I'm gonna base it off my entertainment, as I'm gonna try for that not to be that important, but I gotta like it. So entertainment is something I'll be looking out for, as well as just in general, the story. The story has also got to be good. But I'm looking out for other stuff as well, including performances. If I'm watching arguably what's supposed to be the best movie of the year, the acting has got to be good. I better not see one background actor or background performance. Just the cinematography as well, it's got to be good. It's got to be a very pretty movie. I better see some just beautiful scenes, just beautiful atmosphere. It's got to be beautiful. It's got to kiss me. Editing, I edit. It's got to be as good as 28 Weeks Later. I mean, that is prime editing. I hope no one believes that. I hope no. Anyway, because if I'm watching a dialogue scene and then they accidentally cut for a split second to me upside down, not good. Why'd you rotate? Other criteria, not really criteria, but other things I want to keep in mind is also just other production elements. So sound is also important in there. That also kind of goes with sound is also editing, but in general, sound is important as well as lighting, because sometimes something could be lit and it just be production design, also costuming, just other things that I will keep an eye out for, but not necessarily going, unless they really pique my mind and it's something that it's really acknowledgeable, then I'll bring it up. If not, it's kind of just going to be there, so it's not going to be the biggest thing. So yeah, I'm excited. I've only seen one of these, so essentially I'm watching 9 new films that are critically acclaimed, because all of these movies are also doing very, very well. So of course we're going to watch the Oscars together. And the reason I'm doing this is because I've always enjoyed watching the Oscars, and I've always wanted to watch all the movies and then get into it, so that I can actually be involved and be oh, this should have won. So Hamnet and One Battle After Another, I think, are the top 2 right now. And also, watching all of these is going to be really fun, because a lot of the best actor and best actresses, along with the supporting actors and actresses, most of the times they're nominated, they're also nominated for the best picture. And then luckily this will give me input on cinematography as well, editing, music. I hope this was good. Hope this intro was good. I don't think there's anything else to say. Anyway, we have until March... March 15th. Okay. We have until March 15th to watch 10 films. This can't be hard. In fact, we're going to be starting out with a banger. And that movie is Train Dreams. Went into the movie not knowing anything, had zero expectations, but I'm kind of shocked by how good it was. I mean, my initial reactions were, man, I feel weird. I feel like I felt every emotion. Anyway, so the initial story about Train Dreams, and I'm not going to be doing any spoilers, I'll try to stay away from that, is, in the simplest terms, you just follow this man, this logger, he's a logger in the 20th century, and you just go through his life. And it's done really well. The movie itself, the story, is very gut-wrenching. It's sad. It's as if you're watching Manchester by the Sea, but in the forest. So for story, I would probably give it, I'm going out of a 0 out of 5 range. So I think I'm definitely at like 4 stars, 4 out of 5. So it's very unique, but a lot of like the plot points that happen, it kind of feels like, you know, we've seen it before. Cinematography, I'm just gonna go ahead and flat out and say it was a 5 out of 5. The movie opens, and it has like a little intro sequence. And typically with like intros in movies, they're like very unique to pull you in, right? So you're watching it, and I'm like, at one point are these really cool shots going just to turn into like your standard movie, camera A, camera B, back and forth. And it didn't. It stuck with this really cool look throughout the entire movie. And the shots were just impressive. I mean, they were beautiful. The editing was also pretty solid throughout. I don't really know how I'm gonna go about grading editing, because there's so many things that go into it, such as the color, the extra sound. Essentially, that's where your pacing comes from, I believe. I had to pause the movie to do something, and I was halfway through it, and I thought it was like 30 minutes. It showed what it needed to show, and it showed it perfectly. With the color, oh my man, the color grading was also really good. But also the way that they did some of the scenes, because there's a scene where a character shoots a gun. They shoot the gun, and you're immediately taken back to a different part in the movie where somebody else shot a gun, and you're just like, oh. It's just like ripped your heart out. I mean, it's probably also like a 5. And I should have known that going into what are supposed to be the best movies of the year. So the performances in this movie, because I forgot to bring those up, were also pretty solid. It's essentially you're just following Joel Edgerton and his character, which he does a spectacular job at showing depression. He really makes you feel what he's feeling, and it's pretty solid. The supporting cast were also pretty solid. Performances, I'll go like a 4.25, just because he was like the one standout performance from the entire movie. Shout out to William H. Macy, though, because he's always really cool. For something that I guess is going to be very important to these is my overall entertainment with the story, with just the movie in general. So I give the movie, for my entertainment, a solid 4.5. But again, what's really good about this movie is the emotions that it makes you feel. And that, in my mind, is what really helped it. But the story is just a man. But man. That would mean that Train Dreams, I think, just about averages around a 4.5 on my scale, which is already an incredibly strong start. But let me tell you, this next movie, is probably better because the next movie is Sinners. I'm just gonna go ahead and flat out say it. Sinners is a 5 out of 5 on every front. I'm gonna be honest, on rewatching it, I was actually like mesmerized again. I'm amazed by how much I love it. To where it's to the point where it could be in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. Like, I don't know why. I don't know what it does, but it does everything, in my opinion, so perfectly. The story itself is so fun. Well, hold on. Not fun. It's such a good idea, and it's executed so well from, the time frame that we're in. Essentially going from point A to point B, and then finally ending up at the juke joint. It's so good. Wholeheartedly, one of the best scenes that I think came from last year is the dance sequence from the movie. That, and it's up there right when Sammy jumps out of the barn, and then you have Remick jump down, and they have their little tussle while Michael B. Jordan is fighting Michael B. Jordan. The story is phenomenal, 5 out of 5. Cinematography, 5 out of 5 as well. Of course it is. Of course it is. How could it not be? The shot of the twins staring into sunset, sunrise? Oh, editing, 5. The performances, 10 out of 5. The casting, oh my lord. My entertainment, 5. I'm sorry. It's just a phenomenal movie. I can't help it. And I'm not gonna lie. It is incredible. And the thing is, it's so hard. I'm gonna save my rant, because here's my thing. I can go ahead and rant about this, because a ton of the other award ceremonies have already happened, and Sinners is being robbed on so many fronts, and it's insane. Again, I haven't seen any other movies, so there's a good chance one battle after another, or Hamnet is better. But Sinners was just so good. I feel it's really not being brought up, and it has the most Oscar nominations. So it's what's happening? Guys, what's happening? Where's the love? They better win something. I know it's not going to win Best Picture. It breaks my heart. What movie had a bigger impact of 2025? That was not Sinners. It brought back an original IP, and it was a box office hit. I mean, that movie has went back to IMAX so many times already. And it didn't even win that award. It didn't even win box office achievement. How? It's an original horror movie. Those two things don't go good for box office results. But it did. Sinners is a 5 out of 5. It is incredible. It is a phenomenal movie, and I hope you understand how much I love it. It's one of those things where you just have to watch it yourself. After rewatching it, I made the joke at the beginning of the video that Chainsaw Man was my favorite movie of last year. It might be Sinners. Those two go hand in hand for different reasons. I feel bad for whatever movie I have to watch next. With that being said, good luck to the next movie, because the next movie is F1. I remember when I started off this video, I was like, now why is F1 nominated for an Oscar? When it came out, I remember it going to IMAX, but I didn't hear a lot of buzz. I think it helped save F1 a little bit. I watched it, and I quite enjoyed myself. So the story, in my opinion, I think I'm around a 4 out of 5. The reason why I'm at a 4 out of 5, it is I feel it's almost your standard sports story. In the terms of guy messes up and he comes back and he's really cool. You know what I mean? At the very end of the second act, they tried to establish an antagonist. And it wasn't necessary. So there is an antagonist throughout the third act that you're just we don't need it. There was no point. It served, in my mind, almost no purpose to the plot. So it's just wasted time, because it's already 2.5 hours. Did not feel like 2.5 hours. Okay? Did not feel like 2.5 hours. But yeah, story is a 4 out of 5, just because I wasn't wowed by it, but there were still some really good elements. It's still a good story. I just wasn't over the moon. Cinematography again was pretty good. The shots when they're actually driving were very, very nice. There was a lot of shots actually where you'd see the front of the car, and you'd see the camera like swing around to show the driver. I thought that was cool. I think the cinematography is like a 4.25. Nothing incredibly crazy, but very good for when it needed to be, especially in the car scenes, because it felt like you were in it. Performances, I'll go ahead and cover that. Again, pretty solid. I'll go 4.25 here. I'm always confused about Brad Pitt as an actor, especially in this, because sometimes he was like actually putting on a really good performance, but then there are some times I was just like, that's Brad Pitt. But a really good performance came from Damson Idris, I hope I'm saying that right, as he played Joshua Pierce, and he was really cool. He did very, very well. As well as like everybody else. Everybody else was very enjoyable, but editing, I'm going to give the editing a 5. I noticed that F1 was nominated for Best Editing at the Oscars, and I remember being like, really? Why? It was really good. I watched it with my girlfriend, and I think we were about halfway through it, and I'm just like, the editing is really good. And she was like, it is really good. Something happened. It was something big. Something big happened. What made me be like, oh, this editing is great, I'm gonna be so honest, is when there was no audio. They cut the audio entirely. Everything was just so quiet. And it was such an incredible decision. But also just every cut, every transition, everything about the editing was like really, really solid. And I was like so impressed, because I'm not gonna lie, I went in here, I was lowballing the movie. I was like, why is this up here? I got proved wrong. The editing was awesome. Entertainment, I gave the movie a 4 out of 5, just because I did have a lot of fun with it. This wasn't like mind-changing, but I still recognize and will admit that it was a good and fun movie. I will give F1 a solid 4.25 out of 5. I'm not a big fan of sports movies, but I did quite enjoy myself, and I was very tense. I was very anxious, especially during the final race. I felt it a lot. I was like, I was getting a little stressed. I'm enjoying these movies, so I'm very excited to see what's next. So our next movie is One Battle After Another. I typically try to film these little talking segments about a day after I watch the movie, so that I can get like final thoughts. And I'm gonna be honest, it's been a full weekend since I've watched this movie, and the only times I've thought about this movie is when I was like, oh, I need to record this segment. I'm going to go ahead and start this off. I watched this with my friend who I mentioned at the very beginning, who really wanted to see this movie. He gave it a 5 out of 5. For my entertainment, I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. And that is quite low. It just was not for me. This movie just was not for me. A lot of this is to blame on myself, because I thought this movie was something else entirely. The first half I really did enjoy, but then that second half was really just, I didn't care anymore. I just didn't. Story-wise, I do actually think that this was a good story. It just wasn't something that I enjoyed personally. So story-wise, I will... Hello. Essentially, it's just, this revolutionary who it's about a revolutionary whose past catches up to him. And there you go. That's and it's played by Mr. DiCaprio right here. It's DiCaprio. So story wise, I think I'd give it like a 4.5 for sure. Performances, I'm going very out of line here. I'll give like a 4.5 as well. Mr. DiCaprio is cool. He always does good. So I'm gonna be honest, in my mind, one of the best performances came from, her name is Chase Infinity, who plays, Leo's daughter. She was great. She was very enjoyable to watch. Sean Penn was also very scary. And of course, another good actress that was in this was Tiana Taylor. She also did really good in the few minutes of screen time that she had, as she is nominated for an Oscar. So that's really cool, as well as Leo. Cinematography, I don't think was as mind-blowing as it could have been. In my mind, I wasn't impressed. and some of the shots were really okay. Towards the end of the movie, there's like a driving sequence, and I did not like how it looked. Editing, I don't really have much to say about editing. It never really stuck out to me, which means that it did its job. There wasn't anything I was, jumping around about, like I was in, like, Train Dreams. I brought it up quite a bit in F1. So, 4.25. Okay, I'm pretty sure one battle after another averages, like, a 4.25. Again, not bad, but I'm trying to be honest about it and not entirely swayed it off. Because, if I didn't care about any of this other criteria, it'd be a 3.5. But I'm being respectful, and it got a 4.25. Yeah, I'm happy with that. It deserves that number in my mind. As I said, this movie was not for me. I really fell off. The second half was really... I just didn't care. It wasn't a snorefest. I just stopped caring. And I'm sorry. One battle after another was alright. It was okay. It was there. But this next movie probably isn't. Because the next movie is Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. I'm sure I'm saying his name wrong. My tongue, or something does not allow me to say his name correctly, and I don't understand why. I have seen the old 1931 Frankenstein, and I quite enjoy it. That's not really important here, but, I'm familiar with the story, and I think this was pretty good. When I started, this video, I remember people saying Frankenstein was a snorefest. It was a very quick 2 hours and 22 minutes. I think that's how long it was before the credits. Enjoyment-wise, I would go a 4.75 on enjoyment. The story also, to me, was, again, a 4.75. I think Frankenstein is a great story. The build-up, I think it was divided into, 3 sections. The prologue, which was, on the boat, was very fun. Chapter 1, telling the tale of... This isn't really spoilers, I hope. Tale 1, or Chapter 1, I guess, discusses the point of view of Victor. In Chapter 2 of the movie was from the monster, or the creature's point of view. Which is so sad, by the way. Honestly, I kind of wish Chapter 2 was longer. And also, watching Oscar Isaac go insane was very fun. And I will get to Jacob Elordi in a moment. I do have some issues with the story. I'm going to get into a spoiler territory here. Did Mia Goth fall in love with the monster? I feel like that was really just out of... It was teased in a singular scene. And then she was like, I love looking into your eyes. Huh? Y'all had one moment together. What? They could have built on that more, that's all I'm saying. Cinematography, I'm going to go... This is tough. Cinematography is very tough. I think I gotta talk it out. Because the shots, there were some very beautiful shots. The set pieces were also very, very gorgeous. But there were a few times where you could see the blue screen or the green screen. When they first arrive at Victor's tower and they step out of their, the car or the... No, it wasn't when they get off their little wagon, really, you can, see... Yeah. But, still, some of the shots were, very, very good and very pretty. I'll go 4.5. Performances, 5. I can't lie to you. Oscar Isaac, Mia Goth, everyone does great. But when this film was originally announced, Andrew Garfield was supposed to play the monster. I'm a huge Andrew Garfield fan. And when I seen that they swapped him for Jacob Elordi, I was like, really? Mr. Jacob Elordi, I am so apologize. I didn't know your game. I didn't know your ball. You were balling, dude. He killed it. He killed it. oh my gosh. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, he was a replacement? There's no way. How was he the replacement? He was actually so incredible, which then brings me to the design of the monster. Not as iconic as Kevin James, or not as iconic as the old 1931, but it was more real. It was a more real look, which I was okay with, because it still looked really weird. And I could see there were some shots where I was like, that's Jacob Elordi. I couldn't tell, and then sometimes I was like, that's Jacob Elordi. So he did great editing. Man, again, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't have much to say about the editing, which means it's good, because I'm not looking too much at it. I will go 4.75. Anyway, Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein I had a great time with it. I think it was good. I have very little complaints outside of that story element. I had a great time watching it. It was not a snore fest, so I don't know who said that, but you're wrong. And I think it was a very good take of the story. I do. So that gives Frankenstein a 4.75 out of 5. It was great, and I actually recommend watching it. It's very well done. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move over. Let's go ahead and slide over to our next film that we have to watch, because the next movie is Sentimental Value. Went into this, as well as I'm going into a lot of these movies, completely blind. So this film is spoken in mostly Norwegian. So if you don't like reading subtitles, you suck. You're boring. That's your problem. You're missing out on a lot of good movies. The initial story, I did think it was pretty solid. I don't really have much to say about the story. I think it's a really almost bittersweet as father-daughter thing. But like every character that was in it had like a moment. Specifically, the two daughters and then the dad. And of course, Elle Fanning. I think the story itself was pretty solid. There were some really good elements. I really liked watching Nora and her being on stage. I think that was actually one of the best storylines in the movie, was her story through acting on stage. I also enjoyed the creating of the film. I thought that was very nice. And I think that the opening sequence of Nora trying to go on stage was incredible. I really, really liked it. But at the same time, the story didn't like wow me, but it was still like really solid. So I think I'll go like a 4.25 on the story. Cinematography was pretty good. Yeah, the cinematography is pretty good. There's some really good shots. There's one point in the film where Gustav, or Stellan Skarsgård, is talking about creating a shot. And then you see that shot created, and it's like really good. It's really well shot. But there's some really good angles. So yes, it had some really good shots. So again, I think I'd give cinematography like a 4.25 as well. Performances, I'm gonna go. Performances were pretty solid. Everyone did really well, to where I think I have to go 5 out of 5 because everyone killed it. There was not like a specific performance that was like really good, because they were all like on par with each other, and they were even the little kid. There was a little kid and he was killing it. So the editing was not bad. There would be 20 minutes, and then it would just cut to black, like this. And there'd be like no sound as well. So it was like really jarring, because it like happened consistently. And it was like I was watching a TV show. It was like I was binging a TV show, like a miniseries. And it was like that was the end of an episode. And it just threw me off a lot. So I'll also go 4.25. For my personal enjoyment, I gave the movie a 4 on Letterboxd. So yeah. Overall, Sentimental Value gets a 4.25. That's pretty solid. That's pretty good. That's about what I think about the movie. I think it was pretty solid. I don't really have much to say. It was a solid flick. It was not a flick. That was a film. Let me be respectful here. Let's see how it continues, because our next movie is... Okay, I'm just stopping in to say something really quick. I still have 4 movies to talk about, except I have gotten severely behind because the Oscars are tonight. So I'm going to try my best to get through these last 4 movies at a decent pace and not do what I keep doing, or else this video would be incredibly long. Also, it turns out Sinners did win Box Office Achievement Award. I don't know how I saw that it lost. Let's just get this going. Bugonia took me by surprise quite a bit. I really wasn't expecting it, or myself, or it to be as good as I was expecting. So, in all honesty, I gave the movie on my enjoyment a 4.5. It genuinely took me by surprise. How fun, how, dare I say, demented kind of it was. It was wild. So the story itself, I would also go 4.5. Because I do think the story is very fun. I think it's very cool. Yeah, I just really like watching some conspiracist guy basically, well, no, he's already insane by the time you're watching this, but just go crazier. And I love how they frame it, because about halfway through the movie, you're just like, is this guy telling the truth? Do we, what if he's right? And we start questioning ourselves, and it's really weird. There are a couple flaws in there. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know if I missed something, but I feel like the entire cop storyline was really pointless. Genuinely don't know what that provided to the movie. Somebody please tell me what it provided outside of the obvious thing that happens. Acting or performances, I guess I should go. I'm going to give a 5. Because you have Jesse Plemons, Aidan Delbus as Don. Don was the GOAT. Jesse Plemons, who absolutely killed it, and I'm a little surprised I'm not seeing his name brought up for nominations, because he might have been the best performance in that movie, and that is no disrespect to Emma Stone, who absolutely crushed it as always, but I do feel like we're undermining Jesse Plemons in this, because he kills it. I mean, he is so believable. Cinematography, I would also go 4.5. Honestly, I'm pretty sure this entire thing is going to be 4.5. Yeah, I'll go ahead and say it, yeah. Bugonia is 4.5. All the way through. Bugonia is a solid 4.5. I just think it's a good 4.5. Surprisingly, I think it's a good 4.5 movie. It is wild, it is wacky, it is insane, but it's also really fun. Bugonia was really fun. So let's move on to the next movie, which is The Secret Agent. I'm going to go ahead and pull the Band-Aid off. Unfortunately, I also was not the biggest fan of this one. It reminded me a lot, and I got similar vibes to it as One Battle After Another, which you guys know my opinions on. So I felt the same way, but this was better. This is bad. On my enjoyment, I gave it a 3.5, solely because it just was not my movie, but there was still a lot to like, and I'm talking about the final 30 minutes are actually straight peak. But the story on here was really good. It was also pretty tense, and the fascination with Jaws was really fun. I think the story is a good 4.5. But what I will very much hype up is Wagner Moura. I don't know how to say his name. I'm so sorry, because he killed it. Carlos Francisco was also a standout performance in my mind. He did great. And I don't think he's nominated for Best Supporting Actor, even though maybe he should have been, because he crushed it. Both of them, too, were great. Yeah, editing. The only weird thing I have about editing, which I guess might also reflect on the story, the abrupt cuts to the modern era. But editing outside of that, although this was I think this was the longest movie, it did not feel the longest. It's like a 2-hour and 40-minute movie, and it flies by. So I think I have to give the editing, because it made over a 2.5-hour movie, dare I say, for an hour and a half, and also just the editing was really good. I think I'm gonna go 4.45. No wait, that's not 4.75. 4.75. The cinematography was really beautiful, though. But I don't remember anything majorly stand out. So I'm just going to go 4.25, as the shots were pretty. It's just I don't think anything really, like, stood out, in my opinion. The Secret Agent, overall, oh, good lord, what is this? Oh my god. Oh, I didn't even give a ranking for the performances. 5. So I gave a 3.5, followed by a 4.75, followed by a 4.5. Okay, The Secret Agent, I believe, gets a 4.5 in total, I think. So yeah, The Secret Agent, unfortunately, it wasn't for me. I wish I had more to say about it, but it's been a very long time since I've watched it. That's The Secret Agent. So now we move on to the next movie, which is nothing short of a tragedy. Hamnet. This movie hurt to watch, in a good way. I know how to start. Hamnet gets a 5 out of 5 all the way around, in my mind. Just every part of this movie was really beautiful. Cinematography was awesome throughout. There were some really, really great shots. The editing was also just great. Everything flowed. The story itself, I find it really good. I like, I think it's fun watching a little bit of Shakespeare, kind of. Not his movie. It is not Shakespeare's movie. It is Agnes, who is played by the wonderful Jessie Buckley, who I think gives one of the best performances of this Oscar year. And it is obviously because of that scene where she's screaming. This is not a spoiler, because this is just history. Screaming over her dead son, because it is so well done. But also, watching her opening up to somebody, and then being a mother, and then going through grief, and then the ending, she just nails every single emotion perfectly. I mean, she nails it. She does a great job. And of course, just how the story is just so sad, but it works so well. And I think everything just pays off so well. It is just, it's just a really good story, really great performances. Paul Mescal does great. Even the kids, even the younger kids, do great jobs. They all sell their parts so well. Even with the shots are so good. The editing really just, it's a great movie. Chloe Zhao does a great job directing it, but that's just Chloe Zhao. She does beautiful things. Everything that she's created has at least looked beautiful. Even Eternals, I don't give a crap. Eternals looked beautiful, and she continues to have such a good style and distinct style. So with that, we have one last movie, and I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be similar to this because it's also a great movie. So this next movie is Marty Supreme. Again, I'm gonna go ahead and say that this is another 5 out of 5 on all fronts. I had a great time watching this movie. It was also an incredibly stressful movie. I don't know why, but this, now we know which Safdie brother makes things so stressful, because Uncut Gems is a great movie. Yeah, Uncut Gems is a great movie, which is directed by the Safdie brothers, which, as we all know, the Safdie brothers kind of split up and they made their own movies. Both were pretty good. I enjoyed The Smashing Machine, but Marty Supreme is 1,000% a standout, just because of how tense it was for no reason, and how good the story was, just how bad it is just thinking you're so great and you do anything for it, and I love watching stuff like that. And Timothée Chalamet is a phenomenal performer, so he does a fantastic job. Timothée Chalamet obviously is the standout, but we have to hype up, I don't know how to say her name. You're gonna have to work with me here. Odessa Zion? Odessa Zion? Odessa Zion? She also does a phenomenal job. I mean, every performance. Even Kevin, even though he did kind of play himself, he did good. Gwyneth Paltrow is great. This movie is just great. If you really want to watch a guy go absolutely insane to do what he believes he is destined for, go for it. Okay? And you will be very stressed out, but you will have a grand old time. Even Tyler, the creator, even he does a phenomenal job. The performances were great. The cinematography, again, was also really good. Some of the shots were really good. I'll be honest, I mean, some like the very easy shots of just watching ping pong, those were also done very, very well. Marty Supreme gets 5 stars all the way around. I think it's a very enjoyable movie. I think it's fun. I think it's tense. It is not motivational. Unless somebody who acts like that is like, man, I gotta change because I suck. That's your call. So if you are a crappy human being, watch this movie and maybe you'll change. So yeah, Marty Supreme was a great movie. And with that, that is all of the movies watched. For which movie? Oh my god. Yes! Yes! Finally! Took long enough. Ah. Come on. Kicking my feet in the air, baby. I got a feeling this might end up going to F1. Oh! Oh!
The Oscar goes to
Well, that's the end of the video.